Hello all, this is part B of the Schoology introductory video. In this, we're going to concentrate on where we as teachers will spend most of our time right here in materials, whether we're loading resources, creating activities, or giving assessments. So I am on the instructional page of the course that I want to work with, and we're going to add materials. So you will see our first option is to add a folder. And there are various beneficial reasons that you may want to do this. You can choose different colors for your folder. You may choose to color code it or to organize it by units or topics or the different types of assignments. Personally, in my class, my students know a red folder means it's the active hot topic of the week. A blue folder means it's something that's upcoming or something that we have finished, but I'm still grading assessments in it. A white folder means it is a completely done unit. And then black folders are for just additional resources. So whatever works in your course, you do have the option, if you wish, to change the colors of your folder. You also can add media right here, insert content, whether it's a picture or other type. Now, do realize I did this last weekend, and I was really proud of how my page looked with artwork for each assignment. And then when I logged onto the iPad, these don't even show. So the interface is different between using a laptop and desktop versus using the app on phones or iPads. So you may want to try logging into both just to see how your course visually looks. I still like the pictures there related to the content, but students who were working on their iPads didn't even see them. The other option you have when you build your folders is you can choose to work ahead and decide when you want that folder to be published, when students can see it, or if you want to unpublish it, that after a certain date, you want to make it no longer visible to your students. Now, it's just as easy to go ahead and add that folder to your class when it's ready, and right over here under your gear, choose to publish or unpublish it, which makes it viewable or unviewable to your students. So two different ways you can do that. All right, so we're going to look at what I call the big three, the three types of assignments that with these three alone, you can get your class up and running and have a fully built Schoology course. For my first 2 years of using Schoology, everything I did fell under one of these three. Now you're going to see there's other types of options that you can go back and play with as you become more comfortable with Schoology. And there's also a quick bonus that we're going to look at because I don't think it's one of the foundational pieces, but I really love adding discussions to classes. So the very first thing we're going to start with is right here under Add Materials, add a file or a link. Now, these files are your static resources. This should not be part of any assignment that you want students to complete and return. You can add various types of documents, just like you would add an attachment to your email. It's going to send you out on your computer to find where they are and then bring them back and attach them and add them to your class. Although it will allow various types of documents, I advise converting most of them to a PDF so the students can't manipulate them, but also it'll look as you intended it to look to the student. So for example, in my course, this is my college course, so I had to lay out what we're doing for the entire quarter, and I built this calendar in Word. But when I uploaded it as a Word document, it was distorted and didn't line up in good columns. So I went back and saved it as a PDF so that when my students open that document, they see it in the way that I want them to see it. Now, definitely, if you're going to add a PowerPoint to your documents, you do want to make sure you do that as a PDF because opening a PowerPoint in the Schoology window will distort or move some of your pictures over top some of your text, and as students are flipping through, it may manipulate it. So just when you open your PowerPoint, click Save as PDF and upload it as a PDF, and students will be able to look through it without any of the images shifting around or being distorted, and it'll look like it did when you created it as a PowerPoint, and this is what you were envisioning them seeing. So just save it as a PDF when you click it to save, and then add it as a file to your class. So we can add any type of file, any type of papers we already have, even if it's just giving a digital copy of worksheet packets that we're distributing right now. Just as easily, you can also add links to send your students from within Schoology to different resources on the internet. It's a convenient way to just direct them to any activities or resources that you want to send them to. There are options to add various apps to your Schoology page, such as Quizlet or BrainPop, but personally, I just use this instead and link them directly there and not bother with adding that extra step of using the app. It's a way to integrate a lot of other resources you may already be using conveniently right into your Schoology course, and to do it in an organized way that gives your students this launching place to visit for the various other sites that you want them to check out. Now, you will have the option. Do you want them to stay inside Schoology and for it to open a display window there for them to reach that resource? Or if you want them not to, it'll send them to a new window outside of Schoology to look at it. You won't always have a choice here. Sometimes the websites are formatted in a way that it'll automatically kick them out to a new window. But there's really, not much difference in that, honestly. These are also the two ways that you're going to share videos or recorded materials with your class outside of conferences. So if you're using conferences and you tell conferences to record it, that recording will stay right there in conferences. But if you want to send them to a YouTube video or a video from some other type of online resource, you would just add the link to send them right there. Or if you have saved a video file that you would like them to see, then you would upload it as a file. So a lot can be done right now from the beginning of your course to give students these resources or activities with this one tool. Next, we're going to look at Add Assignment. This is specifically for assignments that you're going to give your students to complete and return to you so that you can give them feedback. So we're going to give it a title and we're going to give it a description. Now, if you're not going to link it to a Google Drive assignment, you'll want to post the full assignment right here in this description place. So let's go and look at the same assignment done both ways from the teacher's view. So if I do not want to require my students to log into Google, I'm not going to give them a Google Drive assignment. It will look more like this to them. So to create this assignment, in that place for directions, I just cut and pasted the entire assignment. On their side, right here, there will be a little button that says Submit Assignment. And it'll give them the choice of opening a text box right there to answer in, not requiring any other types of resources. Or it will give them the option of uploading their own resources, including bringing things over from their Google Drive. Now, if they are working from an iPad, even more options open there. They'll be able to submit a photo, submit a video or audio response. It'll also, from an iPad, allow them to make additional comments to you about what they are submitting. So it's a little bit different experience on the laptop versus the iPad. And if it was an assignment that you wanted to be more creative with and ask for photos and videos and recordings, iPads are really friendly to that. They can do it on a laptop or a desktop too, but the iPad just directly prompts them. So physically look at this assignment. If I'm not going to use Google Drive, this is what it's going to look like. Students going to have a little square here that says submit assignment. And when I click on that, as soon as they click on submit assignment, they can open a text box and they just type in their answers there directly. Now, I will freely admit that completing and submitting assignments through Google Drive is a much easier process, but we have to consider what's age appropriate requests for our students, and we cannot require that they have Google accounts. That being said, if you're adding the assignment from Google, this is what that exact same assignment will look like. From the teacher view, here's my assignment. And if I click here, it'll take me into my Google Drive. And I'll visibly see that when that student opened the assignment, this is what they saw. I can click here in progress to see my students who are still working on it. And if they were actively working on it, I could actually see them here inside their Google. We'd be in here at the same time and I can watch them work on it, which is a good way maybe to offer some scaffolding and help to a struggling student. And then anyone that has already submitted the assignment will show up under submissions. And again, I can stay right in this window and give feedback here and add the grade when I'm done, or I can open it and work from a full document, which gives me some more options to leave comments and more authentic feedback. And then I would come back and grade it and move to the next student. So this is one of the reasons I love Google, because it's more convenient to work through the assignments in this way. But students can still submit authentic work for genuine feedback, not using Google Drive and using that text box when you create the assignment and not pull it from Google Drive. So just to look real quick at what that Google Drive assignment would look like, we're going back to add assignment. We are going to have a title for it, directions you may want to include. The very first time you do this, it's going to ask you for permission to visit your Google Drive. And then after that, it'll just sync directly to it. And it always goes to where the last document you had open was. Before you attach that document, you want to make sure that you have enabled that document to be a shared document so that students are able to go in and do the work. Otherwise, you are going to get a complete class of students emailing you for permission to access that document. So when you have finished typing up your Google Doc or you've imported it, make sure it's shareable. And then we're just going to click to attach it to the assignment. And please give all your assignments due dates. In order for it to show over here in their task list or at the top in their calendar, it has to have a due date. With no due date, it'll show up in the materials, but it's not utilizing those student organization tools that we have, that Schoology allows the students to see what upcoming assignments are and when they're due. You've got to give it a due date, even if you're going to be flexible with it. Schoology is also going to require you to give it a category, and the category is going to have is ungraded. If you want to have it under a different category, I personally don't want to give my students anything that says it's ungraded. So you're going to have to type in what your own categories are. We are also working toward more integration with PowerSchool and Schoology. So eventually you're going to be able to grade your assignments right here and have them drop into PowerSchool or Gradebook. So for that reason, you might want to make categories here that match the categories that you are going to have in your Gradebook. And then lastly, at the bottom, you're going to see various icons. And if you hover over them, they will show you what they're for. And so most notably here are these three little circles that if we chose this, we could type in the names of individual students that we want this assignment to go to, and only those students would receive this in their Schoology folder. So here's an easy way to differentiate or to put students into groups to puzzle them together. Really beneficial tool there. And from the student point of view, when they open that Google assignment, let's see here. They will have this same first page where they can look at what the assignment is. And then here it'll say My Document. And when they open My Document, then it opens up to their own copy of that assignment to answer on. And it does that for every student in your class. So no student is able to see each other's assignment. As a matter of fact, if a student chose to share that document with another student, because you actually own that document, it'll send you an email alert that tells you this student accessed this document belonging to that student, because that is your managed system within Schoology. So there's a lot of precautions put into place to really maintain integrity in this virtual learning space. All right, so the last of the big threes, we have added files, we have added links, we have created assignments with and without Google, and then lastly, we're going to look at here, add test or quiz. Now, what I want you to think about though is don't think about this as, oh, this is only for assessments. Think about what the tool is, and is that meet the requirements of what I am trying to do with my class. So it might be a quick formative assessment of 5 multiple choice questions. And using test quiz is going to give us a good format to do it. So let's run across these options a little quick. So here are the types of questions that we can add. We can add a true or false question. Within that true or false question, we can change the verbiage. We can require that for false questions, the students have to give an explanation of why it is false or what the true answer is. We have multiple choice, and it will default with 4 options, but you can add or subtract. You can randomize those option choices if you have students that are sitting a little close. Do you have more than one answer? You can allow for partial credit. So if there's 2 correct answers and they get 1 right and 1 wrong, they can still get half credit. And for any of these questions, you can go in and determine how many points you want to make them, or you can just let Schoology do that for you and it'll do the math for you if you want them all the same. All right, nextly, we have fill in the blank questions. And you can choose to do that with a word bank or without. You can have extra words. So I might have 3 blanks in what I type, but 4 words, they have to choose the right 2. Do you care that proper nouns are capitalized correctly? Those are all options that you can add to that question. Here is an important caution though. If you're going to use matching, do make sure that you click allow partial credit. So we could have 25 matching questions, and if they got just 1 wrong, if you did not click this, then all 25 they have lost credit for. So always make sure on matching that you allow partial credit, so that if they got 1 right, 2 right, 3 right, they get credit for those right answers. There is an option for ordering that you could use for maybe timelines or classification purposes. They would click and drag them into the correct order depending on your directions. And then lastly, there is an option for short answer questions. Now realize, as long as you tell Schoology the correct answer, it's going to grade it for you unless you tell it not to. With short answer, since that's not an objective assessment piece, it won't do it. Now you can have a test that's mixed up, some multiple choice, some true or false, some matching, a short answer. It'll grade the rest of the test, but you'll still have to click through each of those short answers to read it and determine how many points the student gets. Now, I will give a test quiz format and use it for an assignment that's 5 short answer questions that I could have done with a Google Doc, but doing it here, I can then just flip through the student responses and read it quicker than opening all those individual documents like I showed you a second ago. So in your settings, be sure to enable that test. Now you can do it ahead of time and specify when you want it to open, when you want it to close. And you can also do this from your home page with the assignment, but if the kids go to take the test and it says disabled, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. You can set a time limit, however long you want to give them. You can allow them to retake the test. You can choose to randomize the order of your questions. Can they leave the test, come back, and pick back up? Can they see the answers they submitted? Do you want them to be able to see the correct answers? So lots of options here that you can flip through and see with this assessment piece. As soon as the students have finished taking the test, the results will start coming in. It'll have their name and their score. You can click on it to see which ones they got wrong, which answers were given most often for the wrong ones. And also here under preview, you as the instructor can walk through and take your own quiz. And for me, that's when I usually see all the typos I missed when I was over here creating it. So those are the big 3 that I think if you just practice those and work with those, you can build your entire Schoology course and do it in an interactive, fun way. So again, we looked at how to add a file, how to add a link, how to create an assignment with and without Google, and then how to create an assessment piece that gives you some objective options and will allow Schoology to score it for you. So here's the bonus. I personally love using discussion boards. It is an easy method for students to collaborate virtually. So let's take a look at that. You would just choose Add Discussion. Give it a title, type in the question, and bam, create. Now, if you choose Enable Grading, even if you don't really plan on grading, it's going to open up some more options for you. So again, you can individually assign, but right here is the one that I love. So if you turn this feature on, that means when the student goes to visit the discussion board, it always looks empty. They cannot read anyone else's response until they post. And as soon as they post, then everyone else that has already posted, their responses will show up also. So it creates a much more authentic space for any type of true assessment, but also to make sure you're not just getting recycled answers from students who have read what others have posted, which is always a concern with discussion boards. So you also, do you teach the same course across multiple classes? You can take that one discussion board and allow multiple classes to participate in it also for a much larger and lively discussion. So each week I post a topic board, a discussion board on whatever our topic of the week is. And it kind of goes back to the 3 then me and give the students a chance to ask questions and answer each other. And then I'll pop in there and offer my advice also on whatever that week's topic is. So once you have billed all your resources for your class, you do have the option to quickly copy them over to other courses that need the same material. You can do that with any assignment individually by visiting this little drop down arrow and just telling it what class to copy it to. And with a couple of clicks, it'll show up in that class. This is also, though, why I like using folders, because if information's in a folder, then you can copy the entire folder over to your other classes or to upcoming semesters. So another added benefit of organizing your material in folders. Now, do realize, keep in mind, if you do copy over between classes, sometimes the attachments don't follow. So for example, specifically when I use Google Assignments, and when I copy it over, that assignment might not, like the assignment's going to follow, and it'll look just like this, but it might not have that attachment. And so all I would need to do is edit the assignment and just make sure my attachments are there on anything that I copied over. And if it wasn't right here, I would just click on Add Attachment and then pull that over again. So that is something that gets lost when you copy over content sometimes, but still a much easier way just to build your resources in one place and then copy it over to your other classes. So hopefully this is all the information you need to get started on building that Schoology course or adding some new materials you haven't tried yet. If you have any questions, if there's any way I can help you on your Schoology page, please just visit that little icon at the top that looks like an envelope and message me. And I'll be more than happy to work with you and help you be successful in working with Schoology. It's a great tool for students and teachers alike. Thanks so much.